Assalamualaikum and good evening. Abang Johari promises better school infrastructure, MOE improving syllabus for Down syndrome, and Sarawak to explore more economic opportunities with Brunei. Those are the headlines for tonight. I'm Ahmad Yusuf and this is TVS Nightline. Our top story for tonight, schools listed under the People's Projects will include facilities that would create a conducive learning and teaching environment for both students and teachers in schools. Premier of Sarawak, Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari, said the Sarawak government will ensure that all schools in the state will be upgraded to the standard it had set.
He further added that among schools in the state which will be parked under this initiative include SK Pulau in Kuching, SK Maludam in Betong, SK Penasu in Daro, and SK Ulu Segan in Bintulu.
Sebenarnya sekolah itu sih mahal, 10 juta, 15 juta, dan juga kalau kliniknya lebih kurang kedaya. Jadi kalau peruntukan diberi dengan kita, jadi kita dapat melaksanakan projek tersebut mengikut procurement yang ada, prosedur yang ada. Kerana MOF akan diwakil dalam jawatankuasa untuk menilai tender.
Elaborating, Abang Johari said the projects listed under development projects were 50 million ringgit and below would benefit more schools to be equipped with better facilities. Thus, he expressed confidence that all projects under the 12 Malaysia Plan 12MP can be implemented smoothly. He told a press conference after the handing over ceremony of SK Merpati Jepang's new administrative block and upgraded academic block.
The Ministry of Education MOE welcomes the views of the Down Syndrome Community Rehabilitation Organisation or PPD-KSD in improving the learning syllabus for children with Down syndrome. Hence, inputs from all parties gathered through the engagement sessions in meeting the needs of the children in addition to taking into account their progress cycle and employability.
Meminda kurikulum ini, dia ada kepakaran dia yang ada di KPM yang saya fikir sangat penting untuk saya kongsikan bahawa sesi libat urus akan sentiasa dijalankan dari semasa ke semasa. Jadi jangan risau, sesi itu akan berlangsung. Tadi pengarah bahagian tadi, Hajah Salmiah juga telah memaklumkan kepada saya bahawa akan ada sesi-sesi tersebut untuk kita pastikan bahawa sesi-sesi dan input-input ini kita dapat daripada semua pemegang taruh kita.
She said this to reporters after attending the handover ceremony of Yayasan Petronas 2023 Back to School Packs at Sekolah Pendidikan Khas Jalan Batu L earlier today. Today's event saw 30 students with disabilities receiving back-to-school packs donated by Yayasan Petronas containing vouchers for a set of school uniform, shoes, socks and sports attire, in addition to equipment kits such as school bags, stationery sets, color pencils and scientific calculators. A total of 21,000 primary and secondary school students nationwide will receive the packs from mid-March to May. In another development, Fadlina advised school canteen operators to continue operating throughout the month of Ramadan, even if the school has less than 10% non-Muslim students. She said this is because not all Muslim children are required to fast, especially at an early age, in addition to respecting non-Muslims during Ramadan.
Kita nak tegaskan hari ini adalah soal bagaimana keperluan kita menyantuni kanak-kanak yang bukan Islam walaupun dalam bulan Ramadan. Ini adalah kerajaan madani, kerajaan inklusif yang mana kedua-dua pihak kena saling hormat menghormati. Yang puasa kena santuni yang tidak puasa. Yang tidak puasa kena belajar untuk hormat mereka yang puasa. Untuk pengusaha kantin saya sarankan teruskan buka. Ya, ada kanak-kanak ini di sekolah rendah tak wajib lagi puasa. Jadi bukan hanya untuk non-Muslim saja. Barangkali ada non-Muslim, ada anak-anak yang Muslim pun yang tidak wajib lagi berpuasa. Jadi kita tak nak ada satu senario mereka makan di store di tepi longkang. Saya tidak mahu situasi sebegitu.
Now, the Deputy Premier of Sarawak, Dato' Ahmad Awang Tengah Ali Hassan, led the Sarawak government delegation and called on Brunei Darussalam's Second Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dato' Sri Setia Eriwan Muhammad Yusof. The visit, among other things, discussed cooperation opportunities between Brunei Darussalam and Sarawak to increase socio-economic activities which can benefit both parties.
The meeting was a follow-up from the initial meeting of Sultan Hassan Bolkiah with the Prime Minister Dato' Sri Anwar Ibrahim, who was also accompanied by the Sarawak government delegation last February. Also present were Deputy Minister of Transport Dato' Hasbi Habibullah, Deputy Minister of Food Industry, Commodities and Development of Sarawak Region Dato' Dr. Abdul Rahman Ismail, Secretary to the Government of Sarawak Dato' Amar Muhammad Abu Bakar Marzuki, Lawas Member of Parliament Dato' Henry Sam Agong, and Batu Danau Assemblyman Paulus Palu Ngumbang. The entourage was also accompanied by representatives from the Public Works Department JKR, Ministry of International Trade and Industry, Sarawak Industrial Terminal and Entrepreneur Development, Sarawak Economic Planning Unit, Regional Corridor Development Authority, and Sarawak Energy Berhad.
Now, more on education. Sarawak aims to produce more graduates that are fluent in both English and Arabic languages. And in order to realize that, Premier of Sarawak, Datuk Peninggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg said the Al-Junaid syllabus in Madrasah Singapore will be used. Adding to that, he said that the oldest madrasah in Singapore possesses the highest standard of Arabic language and Islamic knowledge.
Dan ini kita mengikut silabus Al-Junaid Singapura. Dan silabus ini diiktirafkan oleh universiti terkenal juga di dunia. Sebab itulah kita nanggau orang Melayu di Singapura yang menjadi menteri, timbalan menteri, Englishnya perfect, Arabnya perfect. Dannya adalah keluar daripada jurusan-jurusan yang telah saya sebutkan tadi.
And in a bid to ensure that the state can achieve its developed status by 2030, Abang Johari urged students to strive in mastering the English language, in addition to science, technology, engineering and mathematics or STEM subjects.
Kerana masa depan kita bergantung kepada keupayaan kita untuk memahami subjek-subjek yang berteraskan kepada sains. Jadi kerja kita tu ialah mewujudkan anak kita yang mahir, pakar dalam subjek kita tu. Dan sudah tentunya berkendakkan penguasaan bahasa Inggeris. Kita telah merupakan sekolah antarabangsa. Sekarang ini menteri, menteri ialah bekas menteri, Datuk Michael Manyin, supaya silabus kita adalah silabus antarabangsa dan anak kita dapat pergi ke sekolah universiti yang diiktiraf sebagai universiti yang terkenal di dunia kena disebabkan oleh bahasa Inggeris. Itu tak macamlah, ada negara kita alhamdulillah ditawarkan tempat di Cornell dan juga di Oxford. Jadi biar kita kalau ada tempat dalam jurusan jika di Sarawak, Yayasan Sarawak akan memberi beasiswa. Ini adalah dasar kita. Lebih-lebih lagi anak-anak Bumi Putra, saya sarankan lagi jangan takut dengan sains.
Now, when it comes to zero-emission vehicles, Sarawak is the early adopter of hydrogen-powered vehicles in their government fleets. Enthusiastic and progressive, Sarawak has rolled out charging infrastructure as well as engaging sector players in addition to the future financial benefits. As such, Deputy Premiers Dato' Ahmad Douglas Ugambas, Dato' Ahmad Awang Tengah Ali Hassan and Dato' Sri Dr. Sim Kui Hian were each handed the keys to the hydrogen-powered Toyota Mirai today. The vehicles were presented to the Deputy Premiers by Sarawak Economic Development Corporation or SEDC Energy in a simple handover ceremony this morning.
Sarawak Economic Development Corporation SADC Chairman Tan Sri Dato' Amar Abdul Aziz Hussein said the presence of the Toyota Mirai in the Sarawak government leadership fleet goes hand in hand with the aspirations of the government to become the nation's leader in green energy, noting that it signifies a key milestone for Sarawak towards pursuing green mobility and green energy initiatives. He added SADC, through its arm SEDC Energy, aims to popularize the use of green energy vehicles and to expand on its multi-fuel stations statewide.
Kita akan mempopularkan bila kita dapat bukan saja sumber dari Toyota tapi mungkin daripada syarikat-syarikat yang lain yang ada mengeluarkan kereta hidrogen seperti Hyundai misalnya. Jadi kita flagship station kita ada 5 yang kita rancang, 2 yang kita sudah buat sekarang di Kuching, di sini Taruhana dengan di Batu Kawah. Lepas tu kita akan merancang, sedang dalam rancangan kita buat di Bintulu, Miri, Sibu, Sri Aman. Dan yang lain lagi kita akan on the Dodo basis.
The cars were among the 5 units that SADC Energy have purchased from UMW Toyota Motor earlier this year, including the one handed over to Abang Johari and one for SADC Energy.
Balai Ringin constituents have reaped the fruit of their steady development growth as it gears up to be elevated into a full district. Its Assemblyman Datuk Snodan Lawan said the upgrading works are currently implemented through various initiatives.
Dan kebetulan pada sebelum waktu itu saya telah meminta 2019 kalau silakan 2019 di waktu program jelajah zon 6 TVS zon 6 pelajaran zon 6 di Pasar Racau. Waktu itu yang dirasmikan oleh Yang Berhormat pimpinan kita, saya mengutarakan kalau boleh saya bercadangkan Balai Ringin menjadi sub-distrik yang baru.
Apart from the new administration, infrastructures and facilities includes a new small district office located on the 10-acre land, a fire station and police station located in front of the office. He said this after attending the Balai Ringin Sub-District Mini-Lab in Serian on Wednesday. Also present were former Sarawak State Secretary Tan Sri Dato' Amar Wilson Baya Dandot, Serian Deputy Resident Caroline Joseph, and Serian District Officer Lim Hock Meng. The workshop was attended by 24 participants consisting of various state government agencies, including the Ringin District Office, Sarawak Veterinary Services Department, Sarawak Rivers Board, Public Works Department of Serian Division, and Irrigation and Drainage Department of Serian Division.
Coming up right after the break, Deputy Prime Minister says nature must be preserved above 50% and Cubans skeptic over upcoming election. Right here on TVS Nightline, stay tuned. Welcome back. Internet connectivity is vital to ensure that every Malaysian has an equal opportunity to be knowledgeable and be updated with the latest developments around the world. With around 600 rural villages in Sarawak still lacking internet access, the Our Internet campaign was launched to enable discourse between the people and the government on the path towards achieving internet access nationwide.
House Kuching Director Ashwi Narayanan said the campaign was successful in gathering information on the people's needs when it comes to internet access.
The idea behind this Internet Kita campaign is to basically advocate and promote for meaningful internet access and connection in East Malaysia, including Sabah and Sarawak. And we actually took information or did a bit of a survey with the public, and collated all these results that we have gotten. I would fairly like to say that this campaign was interesting, and I can say quite successful as well, because we were actually able to get a lot of insightful information on what is actually happening on the ground in Sarawak.
In conjunction with the campaign, a town hall session was held in Kuching on March 11 and 18, where complaints and suggestions were shared by the people to be conveyed to the Minister of Communications and Digital, Ahmad Fahmi Muhammad Fadzil.
The purpose and the climax of this campaign is basically when we bring all of this information to have another policy dialogue session with YB Fahmi from the Ministry of Communications and Digital. All right. Now with the new ministry and with the new Malaysia Madani, we are truly hoping for a very transparent information sharing that we can bring forth and have with the government, both the federal and the state side as well. And we truly hope that this would bring significant changes to the internet connection, to the internet connectivity and meaningful internet connection here in Sarawak.
Around 3 to 4 more units of the Autonomous Rapid Transit or ART vehicles are expected to arrive in Sarawak by next year. Sarawak Economic Development Corporation SEDC Chairman Tan Sri Dato' Amar Dr. Abdul Aziz Hussain said it will need to undergo a year-long proof of concept or POC testing before the full operation of the ART commence in 2025.
Tahun depan sedikit-sedikitlah 3 unit, 4 unit sekali. Dan sampai kita mendapat semua untuk yang dikehendaki untuk kita mengadakan commercial operation dalam hujung tahun 2025.
Aziz said the other units will join the first ART unit that will arrive by the middle of this year, with the exercise to take place at Kota Samarahan Expressway by the third quarter of the year. Additionally, he said that SEDC is also planning to add more vehicles that would make full use of hydrogen power. Measuring 30.2 meters long, 2.65 meters wide, and 3.7 meters high, the ART vehicle can reach speeds of up to 70 kilometers per hour with a capacity to accommodate 241 passengers.
Right. The government is steadfast in its commitment to ensuring that Malaysia will reach forest preservation level by 50%. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Fadilah Yusof said that the regional government supported the decision by not allowing any large-scale deforestation in order to support commodity plantations such as palm trees.
He said that this was implemented by limiting the maximum approval of commodity plantations to only 6.5 million hectares nationwide. Currently, about 5.8 million hectares have been approved. Fadilah, who is also the Minister of Plantation and Commodities, said the government is undertaking 3 replanting as part of the National Nature Preservation Program.
Sebab itu kita tubuhkan hutan komuniti, di mana komuniti boleh menanam pokok-pokok yang boleh juga akhirnya digunakan untuk komoditi yang lain, khususnya furniture dan sebagainya. Tapi hutan simpan kekal akan tetap kita pelihara.
At the same time, Fadilah said the founding of Malaysia's Biodiversity Centre has been agreed upon by the Cabinet during the first meeting of the National Biodiversity Council. He said the centre will play a role in managing the country's biodiversity while also realising the establishment of Malaysia's own Nature History Museum.
And the unity government, based on the Malaysia Madani concept, has nothing to do with the organisation of any programs deemed unhealthy, said Deputy Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Sabah, Sarawak Affairs and Special Functions, Datuk Wilson Ugak Kumbong.
He added the organisation of any program needs to take into account the diversity of races and religions in the country.
Kerajaan kita tidak ada program-program seperti dikatakan yang berhormat tadi. So mohonlah Malaysia Madani tak akan teruskan dengan program yang tidak sihat tu yang berhormat. Yang tidak sihat itu berhormat kerana rakyat Malaysia yang berbilang kaum, berbilang agama, kita percayalah.
He said this in his reply to a supplementary question from Ahmad Fadil Shari, PN Pasir Mas, who wanted to know the government's position regarding the organisation of the Thai Hot Guys event in the capital on March 30 and asked for the programme to be cancelled. On Sunday, a premise in the capital advertised the event on social media, which will be featuring several hunky Thai males dressed in female clothing known as Thai Hot Guys, thus inviting negative reactions from the public. Meanwhile, he added, although the concept of Malaysia Madani is catered for all levels of society, the program mentioned is not deemed appropriate to be included. Earlier, he said the Malaysia Madani concept will be used as a reference or blueprint in formulating a complete policy and strategic plan to achieve the government's aspirations to defend and empower the target groups, while also enhancing competitiveness and strengthening the country's resilience.
Pada asasnya, kerangka Malaysia Madani dibina berdasarkan kepada analisis tematik manifesto setiap parti gabungan kerajaan perpaduan sewaktu program pemungkiman anggota Jemaah Menteri yang berlangsung pada 15 Januari 2023.
Thank you for sticking with us right here on TVS Nightline. Now onto some global updates. In Cuba, the upcoming election turnout is expected to decrease significantly. Much of this is attributed to the people's perception of the ruling government, as little was done to bring change in the country, especially in terms of economic growth. And like any other Cubans, a retired university professor, Humberto Avila, who is now 77 years old, said he sees no point in voting where only candidates from one party will be contesting for all of Cuba's 470 parliamentary seats.
It seems to me that's the same number of candidates as open seats, so there's no election. You are simply reaffirming what the nominating committee did.
I don't really think there are going to be any changes. None. So it's all going to be the same. I don't plan to vote.
Bert Hoffmann, an expert from the German Institute of Global and Area Studies, said the election will be a test for the government to see whether the ruling government still have the power to even mobilize their election machinery.
It will be a test for the government. Of course, it will win. The government candidates will win. It's a single-party system. But it will be important to watch the turnout and the abstention rate, that's what the attention will be on. Abstention plus blank votes plus invalid votes. These have been rising steadily over the past elections. And the question really is if the government does get a majority of the electorate, it will get a majority of the cast votes, that's a given, but whether they really can mobilize the electorate or if we have such a high rate of abstention, which would be some form of signaling opposition in a single party system, which then would undermine the legitimacy of the government to some extent.
On top of that, Yuleski Amadam, a law professor from the University of Artemisa, said the significance of the election is to form the National Assembly of the People's Power, including the President and the Vice President of Cuba.
How people feel ahead of the election, the background that exists, and how that can even have influence at the time of electing the deputies to the National Assembly of People's Power. In other words, if I feel political apathy, if I somehow feel frustrated with the economic situation in the country and other situations, that prevents the percentages of participation from being as high as in previous elections. But of course, I have to take into account the reason behind the abstentionism, why people have decided not to vote, and that, of course, I also have to study.
Cuba is currently ruled by Miguel Diaz-Canel from the Cuban Communist Party since coming into power in October 2019, flanked by Vice President Gladys Maria Bejarano Portela.
Let's end the Nightline with a good note. Japanese locals and foreign tourists gathered in Ueno Park in Tokyo to enjoy cherry blossoms in full bloom as the city lifted its ban on gatherings for the first time since the pandemic. As many visitors were seen taking pictures and having picnics under trees as the sakura petals fell, as they are also celebrating Japan's win against the United States in the World Baseball Classic, WBC.
Japan won the World Baseball Classic, so we decided to come to enjoy the cherry blossoms. Since the situation of COVID-19 has improved this year and we are allowed to have gatherings in Ueno Park, we came here to have a drink and to celebrate the victory.
Jody Peacher, an Australian traveller, is currently in Japan for the first time and is fortunately having a great time admiring the stunning scenery.
It's the first time we've come to Japan and absolutely love the atmosphere and the culture and being here for the first time and being able to see this on our very last day to actually experience the cherry blossom season and get to experience just the atmosphere and seeing all the people out and about and having a good time. So we're trying to be a part of it and just absorb that.
Meanwhile, Shoko Kakusaka, a resident of Tokyo, expressed her happiness, stating that she feels like daily life in Japan is gradually returning to normal. Warm weather ushered in a full bloom 9 days sooner than usual in the capital, and one of the earliest in recorded history, national broadcaster NHK said on Wednesday, citing the weather agency.
And that's all the time we have for tonight's TVS Nightline. Before I go to my Muslim brothers and sisters, have a blessed Ramadan ahead. I'm Muhammad Yusuf. Thank you for watching and good night.